everybody. How's it going? Oh, it's Tuesday night. It's time for the show. If you're new here, I usually start about 10 minutes after the hour because, it takes time for people to get their stuff together, including me. But you're here. It's good. Thank you. But a couple minutes late because there was just, I don't know. So this show is born out of a lot of, hi everybody, by the way. I'm going to say hi to everybody throughout. Myra, hey, Nerdy Janice. It's so good to see you again. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for subscribing, M. Sue John. You're a tier 1 subscriber. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you. And Susan's here, and Quilting Nancy, and Holmes, and Mother Nature, and Dana. So, more of that to come. But this show is born out of it's out of a desire to connect. Ian Forrester said, only connect. Really, there's other things, but it's pretty good advice. And so connection, right? But also, I'm very overwhelmed in general, get overwhelmed. Life is sort of overwhelming. But there's a torrent of information out there. And there's so much, it's like if you've ever made a book or even just a piece of writing, an article, if you've ever edited a magazine or edited any kind of text at all, it's a disaster. You shouldn't do it. You should not try to corral that many letters and words and sentences and paragraphs and stories and pictures and dates and times and captions. You should not try to do it because it's very difficult and you are guaranteed to make mistakes. Some mistakes are and some mistakes will rock your very foundation of your self-worth. I know, I have had a couple of those. So, it's crazy. So what happens? So this show is partly a way to do something with this enormous amount of information that I find, as I'm researching quilts and stuff. So, for example, the reason I'm a little bit late, the reason I'm saying this is because we're going to talk about mountain mist tonight. Yeah. Oh yeah. The nerds out there are like, oh, what? And you're like, you've got out your hymnals, your little quilt church hymnals, mountain mist. And some of you don't know what that is, and that's awesome. I don't know much about it. I know a little bit about it, about this pattern company, who in the 30s and 40s, put quilt it wasn't a pattern company, it's a batting company, it still is. And they put quilt patterns in the wrapper. I've been thinking about Lil Wayne all day, because I've been looking at stuff about wrappers. Anyway, so there's all this information, and just when I had kind of gotten together all this stuff about mountain mist for tonight, I hit the mother lode in an exhibition that was done by the International Quilt Museum, and I knew they had done an exhibition, and I had gotten some photographs of quilts from their site, but then I realized they had all of this amazing content so I was printing things off and running around. But this show is really great because there's some place for all that information to go. Beyond where it lives on the internet or in these books that I have. So that's really good, but it's a little overwhelming sometimes. So that's what's going on. And also, the whole point of the show, so it's it's a way to share this information so my head doesn't explode or my computer doesn't crash. The more I share the stuff that I find, the more I don't have to wake up with anxiety in the middle of the night thinking about how disorganized all my folders are on my desktop, that kind of thing. But this morning, I woke early. I rose before the sun, and I was working on my lecture for QuiltCon, the one that is about quilts and fine art. And you know what? I got it. Yes, eureka! You gotta know what you're gonna talk about. And this is sticky, this particular topic, but I figured it out. And Nietzsche said, that's right, we're gonna quote Nietzsche tonight. It's only 7:18 p.m. on a Tuesday night. That's how you know it's gonna be good. He said the best thoughts are conceived while walking. I don't think he's wrong, And so I was up having my coffee, and I just paced around. I just paced this place. I could have gone outside, but who goes outside? Are you kidding? And so I was like pacing around, having my coffee, and I outlined the whole thing. And I know what I'm going to do. It's going to be freaking awesome. I hope so. Hey, Lainey and Myra. I think I said hi to Myra. And Feondor coming in with that music, you know. Lauren, I'm so glad you're here. Yes, quilt nerd time is here. It's here. It's Tuesday night. Ivana. Hey, Ivana. Happy Tuesday to you. Jill Alex. What's up? Okay, proud. I'm proud. Howdy. See? That's right. It's repetition. Tradition. What is tradition? It's just somebody does something and then they do it again, and they do it again, and then they do it again. Even, I mean, it can be pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is a tradition because somebody made it once, and whether people liked it or not, it's tradition now. But howdy is great, so keep it. Approved. Do we have we don't really have an approved. Oh yeah, that's another sound effect we need. Like when something's approved, you should get like a rubber stamp or something. Hey, Twittering Bird and Ivy Kadivy and Padma. You did it. You got Quilt Nerd live on your Roku device by installing Twoku. I don't even know these words that you're saying. I literally do not know them. I got Quilt Nerd live on my Roku by installing Twoku. Moving on. Hey, Raffle Waffle. You got me on the big screen without YouTube. And you know what? Tonight is the first night since I got here to Chicago that we are exclusively live on Twitch. Not multi-streaming to YouTube. Made that executive decision last week. If you missed it, I decided that I had to listen to my gut and listen to you. I love you. And if you're, there was some consternation about this whole multi-stream thing. I think it's best that the show is live on Twitch. It's like being live on HBO or Disney Plus or Netflix. Most shows aren't live on two different networks. And I know the internet is not TV, but is it? So it's just, the show is live on Twitch. It's how it was designed. But the reruns or the recorded replays will always be available on my YouTube channel. So it's like, but we do the show live on Twitch, and that's where we do it. And it's the best experience for you. And it's the best subscription thing for you. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's pure. It's like pure, uncut Quilt Nerd. What? Okay. So, let's see. Hey, thanks, Eric Wolfmeyer. Eric Wolfmeyer, thank you for following. I appreciate it. If you don't follow me, that's a really good thing to do because you can get a notification when I go live, which is great because sometimes I do extra shows. I haven't done like a surprise show recently, but who knows what I got up my sleeve. It's very loose. So Demented, hello. Oh yeah, Streamlabs is up here. Oh, I have made some motions on some moderator stuff, so hopefully Streamlabs won't have to be so active. Hey, you're ready to nerdy, Gall59. I think you're ready. I think you're ready. I know. I feel that you're ready. I feel that you're ready to nerd out. Yeah. Hey, Sue and Rod Walker. Hello. Yeah. Okay, it's a little bit long. Note. Bit Palumbo. Hello, Karen. Sewing Karen. Are you sewing? I think you often are. I think you're one of our sewists who's usually sewing. Hey, Kelly. Goofmeister, I'm so glad you're back. You're such a goof. And Raffle Waffle says, I'm almost halfway done with the hand quilting on my quilt. It's coming along pretty fast, actually. You know what my mom says? I've probably said it 90 times. No, she says it's hard to get a quilt done when you're not working on it. Or, if somebody says, oh my God, that's amazing. How long did that take you? It's like, well, a quilt doesn't have to take you that long if you're working on it consistently, like a little every day, depending on the quilt. But, I could have gotten my COVID quilt done well over a year ago, but I just wasn't working on it. So, it's only recently finished. Okay, so that's awesome. Rusty Cat, hey. And Automod, oh no, Raffle Waffle. Wait, is someone bullying? I'm gonna allow that. I don't know. The bot held a comment. I think it was just a nerd apple. I have no idea. Why would you do it, Streamlabs? Yeah, so Dementia, we're gonna talk about Mountain Mist. Okay, good. Myra, you have no idea? You're gonna be super into it. Susan Armichael, totally. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's good. That's good. Miss Elaney, did I say hi? I'm not sure. Second best thoughts are conceived while showering. You know what? Nietzsche, he probably took sponge baths or something, so he didn't even know. Nietzsche sponge bath. Dee Dee Brew Crew, hi. Dee Dee Brew Crew, I have an announcement tonight. One of my announcements, I have a few, is that we have, thanks to Dee Dee and a few of you, we have a Quilt Nerd Instagram. And it's so great. And Dee Dee sent me an email today, and I was like, that's awesome. Of course you can do it. You have to do it. And I was like, hopefully Quilt Nerd's available. And you came back with even better news, and it's Yo Quilt Nerd. Because my Instagram's Yo Mary Fons. Yo Mary Fons. So it's Yo Quilt Nerd. It's perfect. So it's better. It's better. It's amazing that you're doing this, and I love it. And so yes, go forth. Instagram, I love it. Oh yeah, got that pencil in the ear. You're right, Eric. Look at that. What will happen? And this is a quilt behind me, by the way. Obviously, it's not gonna be. It's a quilt. Look at that. It's crazy. So let's see. And Dana's, okay, yeah, you're hand quilting. That's great. And Myra's laying out a quilt on your homemade design board. Love that. You have Doritos and wine. Oh, wish I had some wine, but later. There's too much going on tonight. OMG, I've got a lot of stuff. Asteroids. Yeah, they do look like asteroids. They do. You know what's weird about this sweater, though? There's a heart right there. And sometimes I feel like it looks like I've been shot or something. That's not funny, but, it's but I really love it anyway. Hey, Sonia RD from Texas. A little late, but you're here and ready for nerdiness. Almost done with a Valentine's table runner. Everybody's sewing tonight. Oh, that's so great. That's a great way to watch this show. And let me say hello to anybody. If I missed you, I'm really sorry. I did not mean to. Yeah, a lot of hand quilting going on. It's true. So I haven't done the full intro in a while, and I want to because, here's one of the reasons why. Another announcement, because I have my Quilt Nerd content plan. The video, so I've been working really hard getting the fashion video done. Good God Almighty, it's just a tremendous amount of work because I want it to be really good, and I want it to be as short as possible. Anyway, I'm editing. It just takes a long time. I keep finding things that I want to do, and just to make it perfect. But that one that I played for you all on Saturday night, which was it was just invaluably helpful to play it, even as rough as it was. So thank you, because there were several things that really got tweaked because of that little screening. But that I didn't put it to YouTube. I didn't post that on YouTube because I don't want people watching that version ahead of time. I want people watching the finished version. But it was up on my Twitch channel, that full episode. And, there was 600, almost 600 views or something this morning, which, we all know, that's nothing in the internet world, whatever. But it was, it was starting to go up, it was I don't know, 350 yesterday, and then it was oh my God. So I thought maybe people were sharing it a little bit. And so I was no. So I unpublished that episode. Now probably, it was people loving the Japanese quilts. Honestly, it was also a really long show, so I'm not convinced that everyone watched till the very end. So maybe it was just the Japanese quilt. So once I have enough time to sit down and do it, I'll just chop off, I'll edit out the rest, the part of the show that's the preview screening thing of that video and republish it. It's not gone, I just need to republish it. So So I did that, but I'm gonna do the kind of fuller intro tonight because there may be new people who are here or coming here soon, and so what is this show? What even is this? And oh, good, yeah, I gotta follow Yo Quilt Nerd. Oh my god, Yo Quilt Nerd. I have to catch up on the Discord. Oh god, there's so much. Anyway. So a lot of us here, if you're new here, this is for you. A lot of us who watch this show, or the person who, makes it from this seat, a lot of us are going to QuiltCon. QuiltCon? There's a QuiltCon? Yeah. Ah! Hey, thank you. Oh, you're raiding? Who's raiding? Wheel of Studios, you're raiding? I've never been raided. This is a thing. Wheel of Studios, thank you so much. I mean, I hate to say this. I don't want to we've just never been raided before. I hope you come in peace. Okay. Well, I can do that. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's so cool. What up, Quilt Nerds? Hi. We love this. We hope we love this. Every once in a while we get like a bot or like someone who's just hilariously funny and they tell hilarious jokes, but not too often. And so I mean, I've never been rated before. We've never been rated before. It's really awesome. Thank you so much. You brought some of your quilter friends, you guys, y'all. Oh my God, is my husband watching? Like seriously, this is really awesome. So in Twitch, oh my God, it's the gods. Wheel of Studio, it's the gods because this is the first night that I'm not multi-streaming to YouTube. I tried it for like a month or something. It's for the birds. My heart is with Twitch. And I think the Twitch gods heard me. And because you're here. And if we were multi-streaming to YouTube, I don't think you would have done it. I think you would have been like, not that show, not tonight. So, I mean, you're a real person, okay? This is so cool, y'all. So if you don't know, in Twitch, another show that's going on at the same time, when the person is logging out. In fact, I think one of you explained this to me once, so many months ago. When I'm like saying, bye, y'all, have a great night, then I can send the viewers like over to someone else's show, and it's called a raid. And so we just got raided. And it feels so good. Who knew? Getting rated could feel so good. It is just so totally cool. So hey, so here's some stuff for you. Round of applause. Yes. And you're not in trouble, so we're not gonna do this. No. Maybe pull you over for being awesome. And then, there's other. Okay, I won't. Anyway, okay, I think I've expressed my gratitude. That's very awesome. I really feel like it's kind of a thing, like a benchmark, Like if I was talking to Twitch people and they were like, so what's your latest raid? I'd be like, well, the other day, raid, it happens, you just gotta go with it. But I couldn't have said that before. Anyway, the most important thing is welcome. Absolutely. These people are so awesome in this room. They're amazing. And so anybody who came over from Wheel of Studios, we're so glad you're here. I was just going to tell folks about what this is. So what this is a bunch of us who watch this show or make this show, we're going to QuiltCon. And of course, like it's COVID and things are weird, but we, some of us we're gonna go for it. And it's like sometimes when people aren't quilt makers, and it sounds like you are, Wheel of Studio and the folks you brought, But, and talk to people who aren't quilt makers, it's like, they're like, QuiltCon? Like, there's a QuiltCon? Or I talked to this one artist once, and I told her I was editor of this particular magazine that I was interviewing her for, and she's like got work at MoMA and stuff. And I was like, well, we're pretty confident that this magazine's like, it's the best magazine, the best quilt magazine out there. And she was like, there's more than one? I mean, really? And I was like, yeah, actually, there's a lot. So people who aren't in the quilt world don't really know about it, and that's cool, I mean, I know how big Comic-Con is, but that's fine. but there's millions of quilters in America and many beyond. Around the world. And we're going to look at a quilt maker from France tonight who made this quilt behind me. I mean, it's not a set, it's not a painting, that's a quilt. And you can tell when you look down at the bottom of it. So we're going to look at that in just a second. But we really get into what we get into, just like a Comic-Con person gets into, Black Widow or whatever. We love quilts for a lot of reasons, and it's not just because they're pretty and they go on the bed and, whatever, they're like Americana. We like them for reasons that go far beyond just the fact that they are pretty blankets. Quilts are historical documents. You look at a quilt that was made in 1969, and it tells you a lot about 1969. And if you're like me and like the other quilt nerds in here, you're curious about basically everything. And what's surprising to me, because I make quilts too, and my mom makes quilts. My mom's like a really famous quilt maker. And I never really thought I'd get into the family business. I was performing and being a freelance writer, and I had my life going. And then I kind of like accidentally started getting into quilt making. And what I am so surprised by and started being really enchanted by years ago is that quilts are so much more than what I thought at the beginning. I thought they were kind of something my mom did. I thought they were like, great, yeah, quilts are amazing, whatever. Can I go now? But what I have found and continue to find is that quilts are a pathway to everything I want to know. This quilt behind me, it's art, and it's from France. It has French on it, so I've learned French. No, I'm kidding. But quilts take you around the world. They are remarkable for how similar they are from culture to culture. An Uzbekistan quilt, the patchwork in a quilt from Turkmenistan or that part of the world looks surprisingly like a quilt made by, a woman in Nebraska in like 1880. It's spooky. You know what? It's spooky. So now I've done the raid, and I have my little stream deck. That's right. I have a stream deck and a Yeti microphone. That's right. A lot of times I'm drinking wine. I don't know if that's a normal Twitch thing, but it is around here. So let's see. Oh no, Solid Notions. I think you got I've got the mod thing yet to figure out, and so Streamlabs is like being the moderator. So if that happened, I'm working on it. I'm sorry, that's probably dumb. I mean, it's definitely dumb. If your name is Solid Notions, you didn't spam the chat, so it did something automatically. But anyway, so we nerd out on quilts. I don't teach you how to make anything here. That's not what this is about. We look at quilts and quilt history, and we look at art and fashion and we're going to look at fashion tonight, and no, it's not the same old thing that I'm always talking about. It's something different, because this woman, we're going to look at Mountain Mist stuff, which is going to blow your mind. It was the 1930s and 40s, these kits and stuff, amazing. The quilts are amazing. I have like 70,000 of them to show you. I mean, going to flip through while I read to you about it. But before we do that, we're going to look at this woman named Margaret Wood, a Native American woman who, she made the most amazing stuff. And you know what it did? It made me go down this rabbit hole of young and up-and-coming Native American fashion designers. I have 6 pictures of the work. I just was like, oh my God, it's gorgeous. So we're going to see it. So that's the scoop. Oh yes, we shall be partaking of some knowledge. Yes, some nerd knowledge. Okay, and Solid Notions is someone y'all should know for sure. This is good to know. This is very good to know. Rusty Cat is watching at 1 a.m. with a wide-awake baby. It's wonderful to find the nerdery flowing. Oh, we're here. Solid Notions. Okay, cool. Glad. Okay. So let's begin. Maybe, okay, I have to turn this off. Sorry. Don't think I've done that before. It's a night of firsts, really. So let's start out with the quilt behind me. That's kind of how we start every show. So I got to get small. Help, I'm small. So while I'm home in Chicago, I am going to be going back to London after QuiltCon, and mixed feelings. But while I'm here in Chicago, I have this wonderful opportunity to swim in my quilt books, right? Because I don't have many in London, but here I have them. Now, this book, The Fine Art of Quilting, is interesting. It's interesting. It's Vicki Barker, Tessa Bird. It was published in 1988. And here's what it says. The Fine Art of Quilting. Because I'm doing that lecture on quilts and fine art at QuiltCon. So I've been all up in my art quilt books and stuff. The Fine Art of Quilting brings together 48 top quilters from around the world and demonstrates the richness of their craft through over 160 color photographs. Yeah, I mean, I've got criticisms about this book, but that's okay. So the pictures are really large and cool. I mean, there's some interesting stuff. There's some interesting stuff in here. Like I said, a few criticisms. Like we looked at all those amazing Japanese quilts last time, and they were all from like the 80s, and there's just no, I mean, they're like from all around the world, you know, all these artists brought together. It's like Holland and France and England, you know, so they could have gone a little farther afield. That's fine. So then I see this quilt that we're looking at right now, okay? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. I'm going to show you, we're going to zoom in on this thing. And I've got a few other quilts by this woman, Nadine Rousset. I'm going to show you the bottom of this quilt before, as we zoom in and look, because it's at the bottom that you can kind of tell, you know, what you're looking at a little bit better. You know, you can sort of see in here at the corners that oh yeah, you know, this is like a three-dimensional object. Hey Rusty Cat, thank you for subscribing. This is great. I didn't see that part. That's awesome. I appreciate it. And it's great. Sorry, catching up a little bit. So this is obviously, this quilt is hey Chicago, what up J-Sock? It's so lovely, isn't it? And it's so realistic. I mean, I don't need to say that, right? But OMG, when I saw it in the book, I was like, no. I mean, I it's crazy. It's like a book of quilts, but when I saw it, it was so realistic looking and so photographically, you know, exact. And it looks like, you know, it looks like one of those what's the moon the Art Deco kind of ish things, you know, Le Chat Noir kind of things. It really looked like an illustration. So I was like, I have to know more. And on the facing page, by the way, of this quilt, which is 4 feet 7 inches by 3 foot 3 inches, okay, on the opposite side is another quilt. So before we move from this, yeah, posters. Munchen. Muka? Muka. That's who I'm thinking of. Before we move on, is that, I mean, what are we looking at here? It doesn't say that there's anything but cotton. I mean, it doesn't say what materials were used, but this looks like it's toile or something, right? I mean, it looks like netting for the curtains, but I don't know. I mean, I don't see texture. I don't know. Is that like fused, you know, onto the quilt? I'm not sure. It doesn't say what materials were used. What do you think? What do you think? Painterly, exact. That's the word I wanted. Painterly. So it certainly looks like there's some toile, but or not toile. Is that the word? Tool, I think is what I'm trying to say. So let me know what you think. Yeah, it's you know what? It's that yellow. It's that beautiful Provençal yellow. That's what I'm wondering, Kelly. Is it 3D or not? You know. And this reminded me too of that coffee, the Cafe Bustelo. Anyway, okay. So we can come back to this if you have thoughts on it. What year? It doesn't say, Susan, but I have a year on the next one. And this book was printed in 88, or was published in 88. So it's got to be before then. So I would put it at like 1980 to 1990, something like that. Well, I mean, 1980 to 87 or something like that. So here's this one. Okay, and I'm going to show it to you in scale. Like, that's the first one, right? And then this is this one that we're looking at now. Yeah, I think it was netting too, so demented. I think so too. But this one is called Le Store. I have I think 4 other works by her loaded up here for us tonight. And I'm going to read to you what she says on her website. There's not a lot online about her that I could find. What's important to know, maybe I should just read her statement that she has on her website. But she's a painter as well. And what I found of hers most recently was a Facebook page that it's not updated at all. I think it's for a gallery show that she had in 2019. And it seems like the Facebook page was started because someone was probably like, you need to advertise your gallery show on Facebook. And she was like, okay. And then she like made the page for Facebook, or someone did, for the gallery show. And that's like the only thing that's on there. So at least that's what I could find. So is it really, Susan? You thought about making something like this? I thought of you. There's a quilt in the Margaret Wood section of the show. It's weirdly reminded me of you. But yeah, okay, so here's what, so I'm going to read to you what she says, but why don't I'll just read the very short bit here in the book before I go there, because this is what's printed above this quilt, okay? Nadine Rousset from Malakoff, France, okay? Quote, I create a super real world in textiles using photographic images and bold colors on a large scale with more than a touch of humor. Okay, I think that is 3-dimensional. I think that the pull on the window thing, the shade, I think that's like a bead or something. Sorry, okay. Let's start again. I create, says Nadine, a super real world in textiles using photographic images and bold colors on a large scale with more than a touch of humor! Exclamation point. The basis of the work is the creation of a different reality without people by giving life to the objects, the form of which is influenced by Mondrian. Interesting timing here to come over to this little guy, this little Broadway boogie woogie moment type of situation. In order to achieve the desired effect, I play with different materials and techniques. Materials that are matte or glossy, smooth or textured, appliqued or embroidered, techniques that are by hand or by machine. This is very like Miami, like not Man Ray. Why can't I think of my artist tonight? But you know those 1980s posters, you know, with they're really illustrative, like really, it was like it's a guy with a really short name, and it was like it just totally iconic 80s with like, you know, like a cartoon almost of a woman's face, and then like a pink lightning bolt or something. Is there paint or stain in the fabric? Asks the write down. You know what? Nagel. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Nagel. The name is the signature on the log cabin card. That is her name, Nadine Rousset. Yeah, Duran Duran album cover. Thank you. Exactly. Lily Ann says, Lily, I'm so glad you're here. I think I know you. I think you were over on YouTube, right? You don't have to say, but God bless you. I'm really glad you're here. I'm always so impressed, Lily Ann says, by the people who have the patience to figure out what the best shadow fabrics and materials will be. Absolutely. Like, yes, I know exactly what you mean. Like the sun is coming in through the window and it's precisely, right, like that particular shade of cream or whatever. I know, it's so great. So one of the reasons, so there's a lot of great quilts in this book that I thought about putting behind me tonight, you know? But look at this. The reason, this is a quilt. This is not a painting. This is a quilt. And this is owned by the International Quilt Museum because they're always one step ahead of me. So I did not know that they had any of her. I had never heard of her before. But in fact, they have 3 quilts by Nadine Rousset. So let's look at them. Yeah, Miami Vice. That's exactly right. It's so Miami Vice. So not Roy Lichtenstein. It's that Nagel guy. The shadow on the wall, exactly. So, you made the switch to Twitch. You made the switch to Twitch, and it makes me feel really like I did made the right choice. Okay, so here's what she has to say. No. What I was going for there a second ago is that there was a lot of great quilts in this book, and I was thinking about what to use, but it was what she said here. She said the basis of the work is the creation of a different reality without people, by giving life to the objects. Okay, but it was that creation of a different reality, because like I see work like this, and I saw, let's go in here, it says all quilt. I think she must paint on it. I do. Someone asked about that. I think some of this is painted. I mean, she's using paint on it, but it is a textile. It is a quilt. It's like sometimes you look at things, you look at an art quilt or something, and it's like, well, why didn't they just paint it, you know? And sometimes it's a very fair question, like why did the artist make this a quilt? Because in some ways it was probably a real pain in the butt, you know? What are they trying to say by making this particular work out of fabric and not cloth? And many artists have a really good answer for that, and some of them don't. And they're like, I don't know, you know, I just wanted to try it, which is a perfectly good answer. But there was something about her when she said, I want to create a different reality. To me, that seemed like a very good reason to make this kind of work, this kind of photorealistic scene. This is called Tom K. Antiques. It was made in 1981. It seemed like a really good reason to make this image, or like this photograph, you know, whatever, into a quilt, because she's creating a different reality. And definitely reality becomes very different if you're looking at it or whatever, and it's made of cloth. So I thought that was pretty good. I liked it. I'm into it. So that one, I mean, this is just like, it's almost like an Edward Hopper kind of jam. Yeah, I mean, in the window, this lamp that's tilted. Let me read to you what she says, okay, while we look at these last couple ones. This is from her website, and it's translated. It's in French, and I use just Google Translate, so it could be a nightmare. Okay, here's what she says. I don't know when she wrote this, but it's on her website now. I'll be away from the chat for a second while I get through this. Okay. Having no artistic training, I became a painter in an atypical way. This is Nadine Rousset, okay, the artist who did this. After having held the family cinema in Malakoff for a few years, interesting, and Malakoff's in France, in 1979, I obtained a scholarship from the Foundation for the Vocation of Marcel Bluestein Blanchette, creator of Publicis, for my hyper-realistic textile creations, as well as the title of Performer of the Year. I don't know what some of these are. If some of you are French people or you know what that is, I would love to know. I mean, Performer of the Year. I mean, it's a theater, I guess. Yeah? Marcel Bluestein Blanchette. Marcel. Isn't every French performer named Marcel? No, okay. Okay, cool. So the competition was organized by the newspaper Elle. Okay. I then took part in numerous personal and group exhibitions, such as the Centre Pompidou. Oh, wow. With my textile works in a hyper-realistic style. Well, that's a big deal. The Pompidou, right? That's in Paris. Creator and director since this period for decoration magazines, interesting, publishing and special effects in advertising, illustration, look at this up here, illustration adapted to embroidery and patchwork. My activities in graphic design and creative DIY naturally led me to this, which has become essential for me. Painting. You can tell it's translated by a computer, you know. What she does is amazing, Goofmeister. It is. Oh, and I think we have an answer to our question. This is totally netting. Like, you can tell, I think, there's a layer of net over this, over the base thing. And you know, since this is in the collection of the Quilt Museum will tell us what's used in it, so we can look back at that when we're done. Yeah, because they'll put the different materials. Okay. Oh, interesting. Very attached to the Southwest. This is back to Nadine. My mother's region of origin. My pictorial career began in 2003 with paintings of bullfighting, ruby, and flamenco, cultural themes for me that seduced me with the beauty of the images, their strength, and their movement. I exhibited the fairs of the Southwest and Southeast, in the fairs of the Southwest and Southeast, and in large hotels, the National Rugby Center. She's got lots of credits here. Since then, I've worked on different themes. The impression left by visitors in museums, film stars for an exhibition in a large hotel in Saint Sebastian in Spain, portraits, and a new series of improbables. All my themes are treated in a hyper-realistic, wow, look at this. I mean, this part is just crazy. The wood, it's insane. Okay, this is the last of it. All my themes are treated in a hyper-realistic figurative style. This often very pop style of painting was very popular in the 60s and 70s. I've always been fascinated by pop culture and this way of painting. I still am. I like everyday images that arouse an emotion by their beauty, their elegance, or their strangeness, and that's what I try to generate with my works. I like to find current subjects, create frames that highlight them, and refine the colors. This is how I like to paint and how I feel in my element. Unquote. This is called Motel, and it was made in 1981. Oh, and that last one we saw was made in 1984. Yeah. So interesting. Yeah, and let's just see. I want to see what they say. Nadine, about what's used. I mean, it's going to be it's this one we probably want to know about. That was all of them, right? Okay, yeah. So this says Cafe Billiard is 55 by 35 and a half inches, 1984, primary fiber synthetics. Primary fabric, broadcloth slash muslin, binding, knife edge, tucked in. And it's a piece that artisan Robert James collected, so it was in the original collection that started the whole Quilt Museum, or it was part of the James collection that they gave to the museum. So that's pretty cool. Made in Paris, France. Pieced and appliqued. So cool, right? I just think it's so great. I thought that was a lot of fun. So, yeah. So Lillian, I love that she wants to remove humans from the equation. Yeah, that is interesting. But she also has chosen human-made objects as the center pieces of her work. It's super interesting. 1000%. Padma chiffon curtains, yeah. Yeah, synthetic doesn't give us too much to work with, but I think chiffon I think chiffon. Little Bird Stitch says, I'm baffled there's no visible quilting on them. Is it just in the ditch? I've been trying to have large surfaces without quilting lines. I mean, it is weird, isn't it? I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, there is a stain. Somebody asked if there was a stain. I see one here, like a water stain. I don't know. I just don't know. But this is why you gotta go to the Quilt Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska, because they have the coolest stuff. They have such cool stuff. They have this stuff. So that is our big opener. And you know what? You know what I'm gonna do? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do Mountain Mist first. I just feel it. I gotta the content, I put it together, and then I gotta feel it out. And so I was gonna do Mountain Mist second, but it's kind of a beast. I mean, for me, it's like I've got a lot of stuff, for you. So I'm gonna do Mountain Mist now, because it's just, Susan's ready. I'm ready too. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen right now, without delay. Okay. All right, so the whole mountain mist thing. Now, you will meet people in the quilt world on your journeys. Oh, the places you'll go. You'll meet people who are like mountain mist, like fans. You know, they're like stands for mountain mist, because it's just a really interesting moment in quilt history that I don't know a ton about. And one of the things about the show that I love the most is that I gather stuff together. You know, I told you that huge file that I have that keeps me up at night because it needs to be organized perfectly, and it's only organized like 20% perfectly. You know, I get stuff together for you, but I don't read through everything. Like twice that's been a problem, like 2 times in the like almost 6 months we've been doing the show. It's just like, oh God, I really got the wrong thing to read, you know, like once or twice. But mostly I know, you know, that the stuff I have printed out, like I've got an article from Quilting Daily about mountain mist, quilts, and patterns. So I'm going to read that to you, but I haven't read it ahead of time because I want to learn with you. I want to be a nerd with you. This isn't a presentation. Lord knows those take a lot longer to put together. So this is about exploration together. And so, yeah, I don't know that much about mountain mist either, but I'm about to, and so are you. Okay, well, I mean, I'm just going to dig in. I've got a lot of quilts to show you. And let me just tell you this. I've got a bunch of images from the Quilt Museum. God bless you, Quilt Museum. The show would really not be a thing without you. And some of the quilts that you'll see, I have more information about them from a huge quilt exhibit and thing that the Quilt Museum did in 2016, I think. But I'm not going to stop reading this and like go to that. I'm just going to read this article to you. We'll get an overview of what we're talking about, and then I'll go back and we'll look at some quilts more closely. Okay? That's kind of the idea. Auto-confuse. Am I auto-confused? I probably am. You can have large open spaces if you don't. Oh, okay, good. People are talking about technique. That's good. I love that. Oh, yeah. Hey, Mary, when is the field trip to the IQM? The first field trip? You know what? That's actually a really good question. When are we going to go to the Quilt Museum? OMG, Leslie Levy, if you're listening. How do you like that? Quilt Nerd field trip? That's actually a very, very wise little bird. Quilt Nerd, I mean, maybe there's like a party. What if we threw a party? Where's Dee Marie? Dee Marie sent me an email about something. She's like, you sure like to party, girl. I was like, you have no idea. But we could have like a Quilt Nerd party at the Quilt Museum. It could be a fundraiser. We could raise funds. I'm telling you, Quilt Nerd at IQM. I love it. Okay, so this article that I'm going to read to you about mountain mist is by Linda Pumphrey. It was published in Quilting Daily in 2019. And Quilting Daily magazine, and Linda Pumphrey, we'll hear more about her in a minute, okay? I'll just save that for the moment. It's called The Story Behind Mountain Mist Historical Quilts, okay? In the 1938 publication, The Mountain Mist Blue Book of Quilts, the Mountain Mist design team explained that they wanted to, quote, make available to the modern needlewoman patterns both old and new. The best of the time-honored antique quilts are carefully patterned, this is still the book, so they can be reproduced with suitable modern fabric according to the methods of today. And we are also working constantly to create new designs in tune with the newest in modern decoration, unquote. As in 1938, the 14 designs presented in the Mountain Mist historical quilts, as in 1938, the 14 designs printed in my book, this is Linda Pumphrey speaking, Mountain Mist historical quilts, were chosen for you to recreate using updated quilting techniques and current fabrics. So Linda Pumphrey wrote the book on Mountain Mist, and it's called Mountain Mist Historical Quilts, and we'll talk more about Linda, like I said. A bit of Mountain Mist's quilt history. For more than 180 years, generations of quilters have loved the Mountain Mist batting brand and layered its batting into countless quilts. From the beginning, I mean, how many of you, Like, put a 1 in the chat, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you have used Mountain Mist quilt batting, you know? I mean, I'm going to put a 1 in the chat. Like, 1. 1,000%. I mean, many times, you know? I kind of use whatever I have, but of course, Mountain Mist. I love Linda Pumphrey, so I think I'll probably use Mountain Mist for the rest of my life, because the woman who wrote this article, like, you ever meet people and they're just good? Like, they're just purely good? I mean, nobody's purely good, but I think Linda Pumphrey is, you know? Yeah. Okay. From the beginning, Mountain Mist battings were sold, so 180 years. 180 years for Mountain Mist Company. Okay. From the beginning, Mountain Mist battings were sold with paper wrappers around them, which protected them during shipping and on the store shelf. Mountain Mist started its quilt pattern making pattern marketing program in 1929 with small images of various patterns printed on the outside of the wrappers. Yeah, like everyone has used. Everyone's, oh my God. Everyone's used Mountain Mist. Oh dear, Jill Alex said someone just name dropped you in my almost 10K member Facebook quilt group. Get ready for another invasion. Oh dear God, how does my hair look? Oh no, my green screen's a little weird. Okay, better have a glass of water. You just freaked me out, Jill. That'd be amazing. That'd be great. Okay. All right. So they're printing quilt patterns on the wrappers. Brilliant, right? So brilliant. Ooh, look at this. On the inside, the company included full instructions for one of the featured quilts. Directions as to how to make the quilt, color suggestions, and quilting designs were also included. As new patterns were developed, the outside of the wrapper was updated to display the additional patterns. Okay, hang on. I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm going to zoom in a little bit when I can. Hold on. For more than 20 years, so this is Linda. For more than 20 years, I had the joy of sharing the Mountain Mist model quilts at quilt meetings and shows, as well as at community events. Oh God, I'm so nervous now. I really am. That's silly. I should just not. Okay. Get it together, Fons. Get it together. Okay. For more than 20 years, says Linda, I had the joy of sharing the Mountain Mist model quilts at quilt meetings and shows, as well as community events before the quilts found a permanent home at the International Quilt Study Center and Museum at Quilt House at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, the International Quilt Museum. What amazed me time after time was how timeless the designs were. They appealed to today's quilters just as much as they appealed to quilters in the 1930s and the 1940s. The stories behind these beautiful quilts make them come to life. Okay, Postmistress Mrs. Blaine Wilson's quilts. This is the next part of this article by Linda Pumphrey. Mountain Mist had each of the patterns made into a quilt before bringing the pattern to market, and these quilts make up the Mountain Mist Historical Quilt Collection. Yeah, here's another version of this, okay? A New York Beauty from the 1930s, okay? So this quilt was made from a pattern, right, that was printed inside and outside the Mountain Mist batting wrapper. It's genius. And let's see. So this, I mean, I wonder, Linda might talk about it, but the whole feed sack thing. The feed sack quilt, a lot of people have heard about that. If you haven't, it was a genius move, right, by the people who were selling feed and grain, right, or corn, feed for chickens and feed for the animals, whatever, to print their sacks, feed sacks, sugar sacks, flour sacks, whatever. This was in America. I don't know if it happened in other places, but the companies heard or saw or realized that the women who had these flour sacks and sugar sacks, they were cutting them apart to use the material for dresses or whatnot. And so they started to print the feed sacks with pretty prints, right? In cute little prints, so they would sell more of their product because the women were starting to shop for the flour and the sugar that they needed, depending on like which like fabric they liked, which sack they liked the most. So, and I didn't know until we did a story on this in Quilt Folk. I thought it was all the Depression era stuff. Like I thought feed sack quilts were the 1930s, but actually they were more 1940s, which is crazy. Which to me, I tend to think that Mountain Mist did it first, right? Where they're like, why don't we use our packaging in a brilliant way? So it seems to me like that happened first with Mountain Mist. Okay, all right, back to this. Postmistress Mrs. Blaine Wilson's quilts. Okay, so yeah, although the names of several quilt makers have been lost, the stories have been handed down from coworker to coworker. Mountain Mist must have carefully chosen the quilt makers who made the model quilts for each of the patterns, right? Mountain Mist must have carefully chosen those quilt makers, as the workmanship is outstanding. Each quilt maker was given fabric, thread, Mountain Mist cotton batting, and a pattern. The company story is that it paid $25 to have each quilt sewn and quilted. Okay, bye, Jill. Bye. One known maker of these quilts was Mrs. Blaine Wilson of Sturgeon, Kentucky. For years, I tried to find her, says Linda Pumphrey, and the town of Sturgeon. No place was found on maps of Kentucky. This was before the internet. Years later, one of her daughters, so one of Mrs. Blaine Wilson's daughters, contacted Mountain Mist. Now, I want to pause and just tell you that some of you who are like really extra nerdy might notice this quilt, might know this quilt from as being a Marie Webster design, and it's adapted from a Marie Webster thing, but we'll get back to that. This is all still Mountain Mist, and I don't know if you've noticed, but the Mountain Mist quilts all have this particular look. I don't know, it's almost like when you see a Mountain Mist quilt, Anyway, okay. So years later, one of this woman's daughters contacted Mountain Mist. After interviewing her daughters, I learned that Sturgeon, Kentucky was basically a post office. Look at this version. A post office that had closed in 1966. In addition to working as a quilt maker, Mrs. Wilson was the Sturgeon postmistress. Oh my God, this is crazy. Her daughters explained that their mother ran the post office so that the other area quilters couldn't get the names of her quilting customers off the packages that were sent to her. The professional quilting business must have been quite competitive in this area of Kentucky. Are you kidding me? That is bananas. That is intense. She worked as a quilt maker, but she was the postmistress of this town. And her daughter said that she ran the post office so that the other quilters in the area couldn't get the names of her quilting customers from the packages that were sent to her. OMG. It is cunning quilt boss, exactly. That is intense, man. I love it. Mrs. Wilson's daughters stated that their mother kept the better paying customers' quilts for herself. And if she needed assistance, she would have her sister-in-law quilt the lesser paying jobs. Okay, thanks, sis. I think I have some of that yellow fabric. I do. I have it. I don't know if it's and the red. Oh my God. I think I have it like over there. Scraps of that really loud red calico and the yellow version of that calico. It's really hard to use. It's really hard to know. Yeah, we have all known this woman. So she gave her sister-in-law like the little grunt work. Once, when Mrs. Wilson was delivering a quilt to her sister-in-law, her daughters noticed that their little cousin had started crying. When they asked him why, he explained that until the quilt was completed, he would only get oatmeal to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because his mom wouldn't have time to cook. Oh, no. Oh, little pumpkin. It's terrible. He was crying. Like, it wasn't just that he was like, I want something else. He was like, I'm literally hungry. That's pretty intense. Okay. All right. Next section. Oh, look at this. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause and tell you about this one. I haven't read about this yet, but look at this. Look at this. So there's this one and this one. They're different. This says Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Okay, and then the second quilt. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Can you look at? They're falling. They're falling. Okay, let's look at the first one. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Quilts with words on them. I mean, I'm a fan. Look, it's so 8-bit. The Twitch people will be, the gamers who use this platform will love it. You guys, we got rated tonight. That's pretty awesome. So I'm going to read to you real quick what the Quilt Museum has to say about these two. Because I did print that off, because I have to know. Okay, here's what they say. Jack and Jill Up the Hill is this first one. It's called Jack and Jill Up the Hill. It was a Mountain Mist pattern number 60. It was made in 1936. The pattern was made in 1936. Maker of this quilt is unknown. Maybe it was this psycho over in Kentucky. It's in the Mountain Mist collection. And it says, the Mountain Mist pattern team suggested piecing this crib-size quilt with a sewing machine. Crib size? Oh, yeah. It doesn't say how big it is, though. That's weird. Well, crib size, okay. The Mountain Mist pattern team suggested piecing this with a sewing machine. On the pattern wrapper, they wrote, quote, if you do not have time for handwork, this piecing may be done on the machine, since it is all straight line seaming with no troublesome curves, unquote. Okay. I want that font, yes. Oh, yeah. You know, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Actually, if anybody's a graphic designer, I think we have at least one or two in this world, in this quilt world, nerd world. That'd be really kind of awesome, like a patchwork font that was like this, you know? I mean, like based in a patchwork sort of vibe, you know what I mean? You know, it would be way cool. And I guess we saw that one guy did the G's Bend. G's Bend was G's Bend quilts were the inspiration for him. Okay, so then the second one is called Jack and Jill Fell Down, and it's Mountain Mist pattern 60. So I guess they got both of them. You got both of the quilts with that pattern in 1936. And it says the two Jack and Jill quilt patterns are among a limited number of children's quilts in the Mountain Mist pattern line. Frederick Hooker announced plans to create a line of children's patterns for their Princess brand batting boxes. He withdrew his plans because Princess batting was selling well and therefore did not merit the investment. Interesting. It's just squares and HSTs, totally. Hey, quilting time. And you're right. It's pretty simple. I love how Jill is falling through space. I mean, she's really tumbling after, you know? I love it. I think this is great. Okay. What's next? You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of white, I feel like, white backgrounds in Mountain Mist quilts. Not always, of course, but it's this look. It's also the fabrics that were available at the time. I mean, it's in the 30s, and then in the 40s, I mean, you have that periwinkle blue and that like pale pink, and of course that green, you know, is super iconic. Oh yeah, Jill, you totally, look, you just put Mountain Mist in the search engine, you know, at the Quilt Museum, you'll find this, you can find this on that database. If I do my episode notes, I'll get it in the Discord. You should make a Jill quilt. I think that'd be great. Okay. When Mountain Mist started the pattern making program, officials thought it was a great marketing concept, but had no idea how it would grow and influence mid-century quilt making. It soon became apparent that quilters wanted to be able to order specific patterns, so a mail order business was added. Quilters could order the quilt pattern of their choice, interesting, for 35 cents each, including shipping. In the 1930s and 40s, Mountain Mist products were sold in department stores with large fabric sections. The company encouraged the stores to display quilts in windows and to boost, this is iconic, this one, Iris, it's iconic, The company encouraged the stores to display quilts in their windows and to boost local interest by borrowing quilts from customers who made them with Mountain Mist quilting cotton. Brilliant. Company officials also suggested stores sell quilting bundles containing everything a quilter would need to complete the pattern inside any Mountain Mist batting wrapper that they had in stock. Yeah, this is smart. I mean, we take this kind of stuff for granted today, but it's pretty smart. Hey, I am wearing an 8-bit sweater. Tonight, it's a gift. Because it's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Happens every time. There's always something. And I know human beings, we look for patterns. It's a thing we do. But it goes beyond that at this show. Okay. Yeah, so they bundled stuff together to sell more batting and to, I mean, it's just genius. They're basically selling, kits in a way. Mountain Mist lent its model quilts for stores to display in their windows. They were shipped in wooden boxes with the quilt numbers stenciled on the outside. It's so great. Isn't it great? It's great. It looks like a Merriam-Webster. Well, we're going to get to that. We are going to get to that. It was considered unpatriotic to have flashy colors for clothing or home goods during World War II. It's so true. You know what? We play that when someone comes with a, awesome fact, a very nerdy fact. You get, the cap, So, yeah, that's pretty good. And a nerd apple. Someone put the nerd apple in there. Okay. Additionally, in-store demonstrations were encouraged. So I found some other pictures of this iris quilt that I wanted to put in there. In-store demonstrations were encouraged by the company, right, by Mountain Mist. Another suggested marketing approach, it's interesting seeing these pieces, was that stores ask ladies' aid societies that made quilts for fundraisers to participate. The theory was that the aid societies would benefit from taking quilt orders, and stores would profit from the increased interest in quilts, as well as the additional yard goods sold. Moreover, the company officials thought it would encourage many women to make quilts when they saw how easy it was to do. I mean, this is big. I didn't realize quite how big of a deal this was. I mean, when you think about how deeply embedded quilt making is in the United States, and it's sort of like, well, duh, look, we're here. But it really is, though. It's really a part of our culture. And just seeing this, about how it was here's everything you need, here's the batting, here's the pattern, here's the fabric, here's the thing, here, and that's just the customer. But they were telling, store owners, oh, we've got a sample quilt we can send you tomorrow. And that's right. And they probably talk like this. But they, will make it easy for you to sell this. You'll have a beautiful display quilt to hang in your window. It's a store owner's oh, fabulous. I don't have to do that this week, or for 2 weeks, whatever. And they're selling stuff. So it's just really interesting. The commerce side of this Mountain Mist thing, I had no idea about it, and it's really interesting. Okay. Yeah, and the ladies' aid societies. It's so interesting. Wow. Company officials thought it would encourage women. Whoa, this is such a great one. Okay, I have more to read on this, but let me keep going. In addition, Mountain Mist supplied merchants with information on how to give and judge quilt shows. And they provided a free booklet, Presenting the Store Quilt Show. Presenting the Store Quilt Show, which had chapters on planning and publicizing events, securing and displaying quilts, judging, and prizes. Basically, everything a merchant would need to conduct a successful show. These people, dude, they did not come to play. Mountain Mist is they're serious. This is adorable, right? Isn't this quilt adorable? It's called Chanticleer, and it was designed by Margaret Hayes. The little broken eggs, the little chicks in the border. Yeah, exactly, quilting time. It's so cute. It's really cute. Yeah, it's so great. And I love the little, the chicken, the rooster. He's really got places to go. He's I'm out of here. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I'm headed to, to the feed sack, basically. I love this. This is a great motif. The little hen, it's great. So we know who designed it. It was Margaret Hayes in 1930. It's Mountain Mist pattern G, just the letter G. And it was made by Ms. Charles A. Poole in 1940. Machine pieced, hand appliqued, reverse appliqued, really? Where is it reverse appliqued? Oh yeah, I guess maybe in there. Yeah, interesting. Embroidered and hand quilted. This children's quilt includes a rooster, hen, and in the outer border, baby chicks emerging from broken shells. Frederick Hooker, I think we're going to learn about Mr. Hooker here in a minute, thought it would be interesting to have a quilt of a humorous nature added to the pattern collection, and thus asked Margaret Hayes to design this quilt. The rooster was copied from German sketches Hooker found at the public library in Cincinnati, Ohio. Interesting. Okay, so they're telling people how to do quilt shows. I mean, they're we think you should do a quilt show. It's like, oh, no, I don't have time for that. Like, oh, don't you? Let me give you this booklet with chapters and tabs. You can do this. I think there's a story here. Like, I do. We're not writing it. We've got enough to write to this time, but at this time. But this is very interesting. This idea of like a store owner, who's like maybe struggling or something. And it might sound a little cheesy, but go with me here. I mean, I just picture this like someone really pushing this quilt thing onto, it's like, we'll do a show, and it's like, I can't do it right now. And it's like, yes, you can, you can do this. And then like his fortunes change or her fortunes change. There's something there. If you're a screenwriter, look at Mountain Mist. I mean, this is like Adventure on the High Seas. That woman took over her town's post office. I think, in a way, she just started a town just so she could be the postmaster, the postmistress there. That's pretty interesting. Yes, these are totally Mountain Mist colors. Totally. I've got some information about this one too, but let's continue this. In 1930, Mountain Mist began advertising in Women's World. Wow, a national magazine with a circulation of 1.2 million readers. Really? Oh yeah, because then you can have a scene like in the magazine offices, like, we need the Mountain Mist pattern. Where is it? It's not here yet. We'll get it. Get him on the phone. 1 out of every 21 women. Oh, 1 out of every 21 women in the United States saw Mountain Mist advertising. 1 out of every 21 women. A company sales sheet stated, until 1929, quilt making was largely confined to farmhouses, small towns. Green screen's weird tonight. Small towns, farm homes, or to those who had once lived on a farm or in a small town. But the sales sheet went on to say quilt making had gained a universal appeal. Not only farm women liked it, apartment dwellers in big cities had taken up the craft too. This is big. This is big. I did not know any of this. I did not understand the scale of this. The sales sheet goes on to state that the best evidence of this claim was to be found in the editorial content of the magazines and newspapers women read. In 1930, this is like classic Mountain Mist. Those Mountain Mist colors, right? Who said that? Whoops. By the way, Wheeler Studios, I am so glad that you are here, and you just like made my night. It's so awesome. Thank you. Okay, so a 1934 survey showed that at least 400 metropolitan newspapers were publishing quilt material regularly. What? Wait a minute. A 1934 survey showed that at least 400 metropolitan newspapers were publishing quilt material regularly. A Gallup survey taken in 6 large cities that same year showed quilt articles were the most popular Sunday feature, with 32% of women reading them. Okay. Everyone hold on. So the century of progress, right? 1933, 1934, the World's Fair, the Sears thing, right? The huge Sears contest. I mean, I didn't connect these things. I mean, you've got Mountain Mist, producing these patterns. You've got these stores with quilts in their windows. You can get a pattern for 35 cents, though in the Great Depression, that was probably a pretty big chunk of change. Awesome. It's so cool. So that's really interesting. And I know that here in Chicago, the Chicago Tribune, Nancy Cabot wrote a quilt column. I mean, Nancy Cabot had this is a big deal. It's perfect timing. Oh my God, this is so crazy. Okay, forget Nancy Cabot. She had a quilt column in the Chicago Tribune. Who cares? This quilt, this is Star of the Bluegrass. This quilt is a reproduction produced by Mountain Mist. I don't have that one with me. Produced by Mountain Mist in 1940 or something like that. But this is the quilt, a reproduction of the quilt that won the Century of Progress exhibit contest. Star of the Bluegrass. And it was that whole scandal. I don't even know if we've really talked about it, about the scandal of the Century of Progress. The woman who won, the short version, is that the woman who won did not make her quilt. Margaret Caden, she was wealthy. She was a wealthy woman who, it's a whole thing, but she didn't even make her quilt. This is how the story goes. And women who were not credited made her quilt. And this was the quilt she won with. This is the Mountain Mist version, the sample quilt that they made, right, from the pattern by Mountain Mist, but this is what it looked like, and it had all this stuffing in it. And it was crazy because all of these Century of Progress quilts, we've seen a few of them, they were wild and iconoclastic, and they were so original. And Sears told the contestants that if they worked the Century of Progress theme of the fair into their quilt, they could be up for extra prize money. But this is it's beautiful, but it's completely basic to me. It's just a star quilt. What's up with that? Hey, Margaret Caden. It was just terrible because she didn't need the money. In her photograph in the newspaper, I think even before the contest, I don't know, but she's wearing pearls and a hat. Meanwhile, they're shooting animals in the Chicago Zoo for meat. That's my one really, really scary statistic or factoid about the Great Depression, about how bad it was. I say it a lot. I won't say it too many more times, but unemployment was 25%. 25% of Americans were out of work in 1933, and Margaret Caden wins $1,700 with this quilt. Anyway, it's super beautiful. Obviously, it's very beautiful. It's more than just a star quilt, and apparently, the cord work in the green, the negative space there, was pretty sick, So Mountain Mist put out a pattern for it, but not right away. This was in 1940, I think. And so obviously Caden won in 1934. So there was a little bit of time. So wait a minute. Oh, I'm behind here. Yeah, Raffle Waffle. I think I read the quilt went missing after they gave it to Eleanor Roosevelt. That's true. I don't think anybody knows where it is. I hope Eleanor Roosevelt was give it to, I don't know, give it to somebody. I don't want it, but that was part of the thing, is that Eleanor Roosevelt would write you a letter, write the winner a letter, and she would get the quilt, at the end. So anyway, it was just a whole thing. And there's a great book about it called Patchwork Souvenirs, about that whole Century of Progress thing, written by Barbara Brackman and Mary Kay Waldvogel. And I would love to have more time on my hands, because I would like to work with Quilt Folk and reprint that book, make a second edition, because there's more quilts that have been found, and I want the pictures in that book to be bigger and more of them, because it's such a great moment in quilt history. Oh my God, did he really? That Peach guy. I hate that Peach guy. How did the truth come out about it? That's a good question, M. Sujan. That is a good question. I don't know, but it's definitely in that book. If it's known, it's in the book. Quilting Time says, it seems like rich women would have had to do these quilts because of the large pieces of fabric. Oh yeah, would have cost so much, unlike crazy quilts made from scraps. This is a very good point. It's true. Like to buy enough of any one fabric, I mean, you'd have to buy it at the same time, right? Like, I mean, because what if you ran out of the green you needed? You know, like you'd probably want to get all of the green that you needed at one time. And yeah, that's a major outlay. It's a really interesting point. I'm into it. I forgot we had that one. I don't know if it's totally right for your comment, but I'm going with it. Kelly Naher, well, you know what? I'm wondering about these. Oh, I love this one. I'm wondering about these mountain mist patterns and if all of them live somewhere. Of course, Linda Pumphrey's book, you'll get some of those patterns. We can look at that on Amazon and see what's included. But wait, there's more. Okay. So, I mean, every woman, it seems, well, 32% of women in America were reading these quilt columns. Okay. Mountain Mist ads spoke of the charm of quilt making and the ease of quilting with Mountain Mist quilt patterns. Later ads would also emphasize the inherent goodness of the Mountain Mist quilting cotton. Each ad featured a 15-cent coupon, wow, toward the purchase of the patterns shown. Most of the quilts were made of solid fabric. Oh, that's right. I hadn't even really like pulled that out, right, of all of this. That's true. There's very few prints. How did I not see that before? Hey, Sonia. You want to do an iris quilt? I'm sure that pattern, you've got to be able to find that. I mean, I feel like if there's a pattern in that Linda Pumphrey Mountain Mist book, iris it just has to be in there. It just has to be. Most of the quilts are made of solid fabric. Very few prints were used because the company didn't want the quilt, to become outdated when a print was no longer available. These people are genius. This is genius. They are timeless. Done in a solid color, the quilt could be used to promote Mountain Mist for years. They're almost creepy. For a few years, each wrapper had a small cellophane envelope stapled to it, containing a penny square of the various color recommendations for that quilt. That's awesome. Why don't people do that anymore? That's really smart. Hey, Mary Kate. Oh, that's so great. You love the pattern on the screen. This one. I'm sure you meant this one, Mary Kate. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Wait, who ordered? Susan Michael, did you just order something? People are buying. People are buying things. They're buying things. Yeah, exactly. And I think I've got some info. I think this quilt's called Hollywood. I'm pretty sure. It's either this one or another one that's called Hollywood, and I have some information about it. I'm going through this article by Linda Pumphrey in Quilting Daily magazine from 2019. And then I'm going to go back through a few of the quilts and share a little bit more about them. This I got from eBay or Etsy. It's a selection of a bunch of different vintage quilt patterns, but there's a lot of Mountain Mist in here. So I just thought I would grab that. Oh yeah, this thing. You see this? This is this hexagon, this red, blue, and white hexagon bit in the middle. That's vintage Mountain Mist patterns. Okay. Mountain Mist designs came from several sources. At first, they were heavily influenced by traditional designs. According to Stearns and Foster, this is some of the pattern. This is a piece of a pattern, right? At first, they were heavily influenced by traditional designs. According to Stearns and Foster company legend, Mountain Mist sales manager Fritz Hooker, there's our guy, Fritz Hooker, would travel around and purchase antique quilts to copy or use as inspiration. Familiar, well-loved designs such as Jacob's Ladder. Hey, Wheelis, thank you so much. You got it. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Bye. Jacob's Ladder, Double Wedding Ring, and Tumbling Blocks were recreated and became part of the collection. One traditional pattern was given a new name, New York Beauty. Oh, Oh, interesting. That's where New York Beauty comes from. Before being published by Mountain Mist, the pattern was known as Crown of Thorns or Rocky Mountain Road. Wow, I didn't know this. But New York Beauty is the name that everyone knows, which shows the importance and influence of the Mountain Mist mid-century designs. And this is the last paragraph here. To make and own a beautiful quilt is a pleasure and gives you a sense of accomplishment. Oh my God, I'm really, honestly, that is something that I will write down. Like, it's like, why do you like quilts? Well, to make and own a beautiful quilt is a pleasure and gives you a sense of accomplishment. I mean, that's really good. That's really good. It's like, I don't know, it's so simple, but I don't say that. It's like, well, quilts are great. And then I go on for 20 minutes about why. But very specifically, precisely put, to make and own a beautiful quilt is a pleasure and gives you a sense of accomplishment. Simple is complicated, people. A quilt is about more than its beauty. The fun of planning and the relaxation of the sewing are more than double the rewards of the activity. Whether you make a quilt as a gift or for your own pleasure, each one you create is an original because it is your adaptation of the design and the colors. You can follow the patterns exactly as printed in Mountain Mist historical quilts, or adapt them as we have done in some of the quilts. Either way, you will have a truly distinctive quilt that is all your creation. Love, Linda Pumphrey. So these pictures, by the way, I mean, isn't that wonderful, just how she said that? This one comes from Bill Volkening's blog. And I told you, I was down the rabbit hole and just like all of this content to wrangle all this. All these quilts, because the quilts that you've been seeing, I didn't get from the article. I got them from all these different places, and so I didn't get what Bill had to say about this particular quilt in his collection. But I've got some really great pictures from his blog, so I have to think to put that in the episode notes that I will write. Volkening. Let me, I want to go back to this though. Look at that. Isn't that great? I want to look at construction on this one. This is really intense. I mean, what is going on here? Actually, we should enjoy the whole thing because we do have detail shots. And it's probably what Bill talks about in his blog post. I can pull it up. I think I should, because he knows a lot about stuff, so hang on. Oh, wait, hold on. It's Wonky World. Whoop. Wonky World. Jack-o'-lantern. Is that this one? I think it's called... Yes. Okay, check this out. So this quilt is called Jack-o'-lantern. It's Mountain Mist pattern number 48. Let me scoot this over and I'll read to you what he says about this. It is so current, Kelly. 1,000% it is. Okay, now you check out the construction while I read you some of this. So this is from Bill Volkening, collector Bill Volkening's blog from 2018. Jack-o'-lantern pattern number 48 for Mountain Mist was copyrighted in 1934, but apparently it was not made very often. This is Bill speaking. I have never seen one before and couldn't find another image of one online. Wow. Okay, I'm zooming in here. We gotta check this out. Interesting. Hey, Quilt Nerd Deb. I don't know if I said hi. Okay. According to Linda Pumphrey, yay, Linda Pumphrey, author of Mountain Mist Historical Quilts, the original design included a pieced, scalloped edge finish, not for beginners. Whoa. This one has a much more simple border and edge. We'll look at the whole quilt again in a second. It's also a little smaller. It's 65 by 83 inches than the original design, which was 95.5 by 81. Okay. The simplified border and edge finish could account for the size difference. Interesting. Okay. It sure, he's quoting Linda Pumphrey. Quote, "It sure reminds me of some of the Margaret Hayes designs." She designed the rooster one. That was Margaret Hayes, the Chanticleer. But Linda goes on, "I have nothing to prove that. The colors were labeled bittersweet, poppy, tangerine, burnt orange, deep yellow, medium yellow, and light yellow." Tangerine. I mean, it sounds like Kona cotton colors, right? We know about this. We know this. Yeah, Lillian, a lot of what we consider to be modern is actually retro. Couldn't agree more. There's nothing new under the sun. You know what I mean? Let's look at the full thing again just one more time, and I think there's a little bit more to say. This thing is it's electric. It's electric. It's so bright. I mean, it's almost like, oh my God. My monitor is very clear, but still. The description on the jack-o'-lantern pattern calls it an original, exclusive to the Mountain Mist pattern series. It was designed for quilt makers looking for new pieced quilt ideas and would be, quote, "an interesting, attractive addition to a bedroom finished in the antique or the modern manner." Unquote. This quilt came from an eBay seller, says Bill Volkening, in Largo, Florida. Now that it's on my radar, I'll be on the lookout for others. Ultimately, I would love to see one of these quilts fully finished according to the instructions with the pieced, scalloped edge finish. It's interesting. I mean, oh, well, I guess those red, there are curves in this quilt. Because I was like, scallop border, like, It seems like there's a lot of like rhombuses in it, but it would look amazing. I mean, it would look amazing. I just wonder, like, what modern quilter wants to step to the plate and do a Mountain Mist reboot? I'm serious. Take it, run with it, go. I mean, how cool would that be? That would be really special. That would be really cool, wouldn't it? Modern quilters, do it. Maybe get a little group together to do it because there's so many patterns. Hey, Mouse. It's so good to see you. Mouse says, "This reminds me of my mom's yellow rule. If you have more than 25% yellow in a quilt, you have a yellow quilt." Oh, I love that. That's so great. That's so good. Did everyone hear that? If you have more than, you know what, oh God, that's so good. If you have more than 25% yellow in a quilt, you have a yellow quilt. That's really good. I'm writing down ideas for merch, And one of my ideas for merch is keep quilts weird, like keep Austin weird. I mean, I think the nerds, like, we can get behind that, right? Keep quilts weird. And so that's good. And then, but I love this, if you have, I'm not saying it would be on a t-shirt, but it could be on something. And would you mind giving your mom's name? Because we would want to like put like, Nadine Smith, like, I think it's really good. If you have more than 25%, if you have more than 25%, if you have more than 25% yellow in a quilt, you have a yellow quilt. Okay, that's awesome. The other thing I think is good is Harriet was right. Harriet Powers. I think I might have said that before. It's either hashtag Harriet was right, or it's just Harriet was right, and then we've got like some of the animals from her Bible quilts cut out, I think that's pretty good. Okay. Oh yeah, a tote bag that says "not just pretty blankets." That's pretty good. That's pretty good too, actually. Yeah. Not just pretty. I've got a date with Jack. Merch idea. I've got a date with Jack. Hey, J. Jenser, thank you for subscribing with Prime for 3 months. That's awesome. I appreciate you. I should have a sound effect that plays when people subscribe. That'd be cool. Weird rules. Gall 59, I'm with you. A mug. I know. The mug. You know what I would love to do? Okay, sorry. We're going to keep looking at Mountain Mist. Look at this one. This is amazing. This is amazing. I want to get like the best mug of your life. Like if we do a mug, I mean, it's going to be like good. I like a good mug. The only other mug I'm going to bring into this house has got to be really good. So, trust me, I'll get the right thing. This is wild. What is this one? Wild Ducks. Okay, it's called Wild Ducks. 1934. This is in the Quilt Museum collection. Wild Ducks. Quilt Nerd planner. A planner. Mary Kate. A planner. Okay, now you've actually caused a problem because my family, my mother, Marianne, and my sister Rebecca, and my sister Hannah, we have a word in our family, and the word is paper cal. Because all of us have a paper calendar. Hang on, it's right here. Don't go anywhere. I'm still here. Here I am. We don't use Google Calendar or whatever, or that's auxiliary for us. We all have a paper cal. This is what it looks like. Oh my God, look, do you see look at how nerdy. I got stickers made. And that's when I do it. And look, that's good. This is a good thing do I have anything I shouldn't show people? No. I got stickers made from this company and then I put it because I just need visual. I need to see it. I need to see my week. You know, I can't have like a reminder. I can't, you know, and it's really nerdy, right? To have a planner and be like, well, and I check things off, you know? So a Quilt Nerd planner would be really exciting because then, Mary Kate, I know how nerdy you are. And I know that you probably remember the quilt, some of you will remember the Quilt Treasury, Treasury calendar. Someone did something. Hozo Tees, you just subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. I mean, you just came in at a very nerdy, like, excitable moment. Let me get, like, a really great quilt behind us. Oh, okay, that's something. Look at this. Yeah, this is called Hollywood. Hollywood. That's us. No, wait a minute. I want something bigger. Wait. No. Yeah. Anyway, but the calendar planner family of things. Why do we love office supplies, Kelly? My mother has always said, if you love office supplies, you will love making quilts. She's said it for years. Oh no. It's a bookmark. It's a bookmark. But that's a really great idea because the thing is with a calendar, an engagement calendar, you know, or whatever, a planner, you have so much opportunity. You have all these opportunities for images. That's the thing. And I'm sure that's why you said it, Mary Kate, because we have so many wonderful things. That's what we do every show. We just look at beautiful things. Now I'll go back. There's just, I don't have too many more quilts for you, but look at all this Mountain Mist quilt. Okay, we looked at that one. Not my favorite, I have to say. But this is, I don't know where I got this, but this is an exhibit of Mountain Mist quilts. But yeah, we just look at great stuff. You're all about planners? Same. I mean, I just like writing things down. The Quilt Nerd content planner. I'm taking a screenshot of this. Yeah. Paper planner is a must for merch. I couldn't agree more. Oh, man. You have to have the calendar journal as well. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. I think that it's like, I think that's really the first thing. Because it's paper. And we make notes. You use planners, paper cal. It's a paper cal. Mouse says I made a teacher planner and then put it on Amazon just so I could buy a copy for me and my friends. I love you people. I'm taking another screenshot. Small notebooks. Quilt Nerd paper cal. Oh my God. My family's going to be really happy someone used the word paper cal. And Twitch stickers. Oh my God, that's true. Sorry, I'm really excited. I'm really genuinely excited. Like, this is really exciting. It's true. It could come with like little Twitch stickers for you to put on when the show is coming on. I may have told you probably early on. My younger sister Rebecca and I, well, this isn't so strange. Eric looked at me like I had 5 heads. I was like, well, we used to play school. All of you probably played school, but we'd come home from school or like on the weekends and we'd play school, and I was the teacher and Rebecca was the student, and we would do workbooks and maths, and we loved it. It was so much fun. I mean, Eric, you know, he's open with it. He dropped out of school. He dropped out of high school And he's like a genius, you know, so it's like, don't tell any of your kids that, you know, but I mean, he's like, you played school. I was like, yes, we did play school. And my sister was an excellent student, and I was a great teacher. I mean, it was really, really fun. And quotes, that's what can go into our planner too. Quotes, of course. Here, this is what we got to do on the next show, or one of the next shows, is go through some of these quilt engagement calendars. Because some of you may remember, I mean, there was a moment where it was like the American Quilt Treasury calendar, and it came out every year for a while. So, Natalie, I'm telling you, girl, I tried to do my life without a paper planner. It was, I mean, it like really wasn't funny at a certain point. Like, I was screwing up. I really was. I was going by like the Google thing, and I use the Google thing sometimes, but if I don't see it, I need to see the thing on a thing. And then I have it in my mind that I have a call tomorrow at blah, or I have to do, you know, but if it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Oh my God, this is really good. Okay. Ooh, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. Oh God. Okay. What I'm going to do. I've had it on my notes for a while because this is just like, I'm like very stimulated right now. Like, I'm just like, eh. And there's a lot of great, wait a minute. The write down got timed out. Oh my God. Write down. The people who I've talked to about moderating, I sent out a couple emails yesterday. If you get it from me, let me know, because mods can take care of, so the Streamlabs bot doesn't time out the write down for putting in too many emotes. I mean, I'm sure it was like 90 like church emotes, and it gets flagged because Streamlabs bot is stupid and is not real. Anyway, what I'm going to do is you played school too. See, exactly. Rusty Cat played school, of course. Jill Alex, of course. Everybody here played school. And it wasn't like playing doctor or something, you know. I mean, and I don't know. That's too much. I never played doctor. Didn't we play doctor? Let's not talk about it. But I was like, who did that? We were too busy playing school. So Kelly keeps her notebook for quilt research. Can I get a really great quilt on the screen for this moment? Okay, that's pretty good. What I'm going to do, it's been in my notes for a while. Surveys. I know how to do them. You know how to take them. But just like, I really have had, one of the things in the coming days to do is just to send out a very simple Google form survey to my valued viewers. Let me know, because I want to ask you, like, what would you like to see more of on the show? I mean, we're going to come up on 6 months of the show, and like, you know, what's working for you? What would you like to see more of? You know, what's your favorite sound effect? Would you like another version of it? You know, do we need a clown horn? Oh my God, clown horn. I think we do. But the questions like that would be really good. But I can put in a section about merch, because these ideas are really good. I mean, this idea of putting graph paper in the back to like sketch things out, and quotes. Dee Marie. Hi, Dee Marie. Dee Marie says the older girl down the street played queen for a day. She was always the queen. Of course she was. Maybe she was great. I don't know. The write down, I thought you said, I read, I have notes serotonin in my current planner. Please say I have notes section in your current planner for Quilt Nerd stuff. I mean, I'm in heaven. Notebooks. I mean, we're just talking about, hey, L. Riggs, we're talking about merch. And thanks for following Psychodynamic. Talk about psycho. We're getting psycho on quilts and office supplies right now. But you know what? We gotta move on. We don't have to. What am I doing? Nothing. But, I mean, nothing after this. A glass of wine would be good. In fact, here's what we're gonna do. I've got a really lovely thing to show you. Oh, Mountain Mist. Mountain Mist. Look, you know what? You know what's spooky? I'm not going to overplay the sound effects, even though I could play the spooky sound effect and it would be fine, but I don't want to be annoying with it. It's got to be good. It's got to be humorous and not annoying. But it's kind of weird that we're talking about Mountain Mist and they were like creepily capitalistic, you know, I mean, in a brilliant way. And we apparently, I have learned tonight that we owe them much for how our quilt culture is shaped today. I mean, they were beasts with this stuff. This is so great. Oh my God. I think the brown was probably red, don't you think? and it's a fugitive. It was a fugitive dye, one of the coolest terms in the quilt world lexicon. Fugitive dye. Would be a good Halloween costume. Put like a Hamburglar like thing around your face and like a brown shirt and be like, I'm a fugitive dye. I used to be red, but now I'm brown. So English quilter. Oh, okay, yeah. See, Kelly, I want you. So keep that idea. I mean, you will have an opportunity to tell me that, like in a very specific way. And you know, sometimes we talk about things, and it's like the quilt. We will do our Quilt Nerd quilt at some point. But you know, it takes me some time to do some of this stuff, but I do get it done. And the survey will be going out. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff. Like, I just want to know, like, oh, wow, look at this quilt. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You see what I mean? All this content. I was like, there are more Mountain Mist quilts in this pocket of the internet? What? In this pocket of the internet? There's even more? I mean, this is, like, edible. It's so yummy. But, yeah, the survey will go out, and I'll have places for you to kind of share things. Sea of Bridgewater, you're out of here like a fugitive dye. Or maybe you're just saying that is like a good phrase. I mean, it's hilarious. Whether you're leaving or staying, it's a good one. Yeah, the quilting is amazing on this. It's totally awesome. Rusty Cat, are you out? Are you going? Okay. Oh yeah, you gotta go. Yeah, you gotta get that. Let that. Good night, baby. Good night, sweet baby, and good night, Rusty Cat. What if I was like, good night, sweet baby? And good night to your baby, too. Sleep. Dream of paper planners and stickers. I think the last time we did this show, I told you I had a sweatshirt that said, I love stickers. Oh, what? I don't even remember this one. Anyway, it is kind of spooky that we're talking about Mountain Mist and their entrepreneurial genius, and we have come up with great merch ideas tonight. Does my green screen do that sometimes? Oh, actually, I bet I know. Anyway, so what we're going to do is going to take a quick break, very quick, because I'm going to get a glass of wine. It's 9 o'clock, and I've been working very hard, enjoying everything I do. let's just put it that way. I worked on quilt folk stuff today, which is fun. This is it. This is the last picture. And then I put the show together, and there's one more thing. And then the second piece of the show, you know, usually, if you haven't seen the show, you know, there's like a main feature almost of the show, usually. And then there's like another, like, mini feature. There's another part, you know, to the show. And this second part about Margaret Wood, who's gorgeous. She's like stunningly beautiful and awesome. It's not half as long as the Mountain Mist. And I mean, I love hanging out for hours. You know, we were on for 3.5 hours last time. 3.5 hours. I didn't even notice. I was like, oh my God. I think it was the longest stream ever because we watched that video. But you know, we're not going to do another Mountain Mist tonight. So I hope you learned about Mountain Mist. And then, so I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back. And we're going to, hey, Court Quilts. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Interesting. We'll come back and learn about Margaret Wood. Court Quilts said, I just purchased the Mountain Mist Quilt Favorites book. And Mary, you should have an affiliate site because I saw the book's availability dwindle as I tried to shop. You sharks, you. I love it. I really do think it's a good idea. Affiliate links. God, I really just... Listen, I'm serious about this. We get enough people watching this show, it'll take, you know, nobody's rolling in cash over here on Twitch yet. But, you know, I started with 0 subscribers, okay? Now, how many subscribers do I have now? It's really exciting. There's like 112 people who subscribe, which is so cool. But if we get enough, I could hire somebody. I'm serious. If somebody could do like 15 hours a week or something. I mean, because people can volunteer to do some things. Mods, you know, that's like an internet thing, you know, for live streaming. Somebody likes the show, and so they'll help mod and stuff like that. But I mean, affiliate links, you know, setting that up, it's like, oh my God, there's no time. I think this is a New York, this could be like a pickle dish. Do I have a name for it? No, this was off the internet. This was a random quilt. Lisa Frank. Can't even get started on Lisa Frank. But yes, Lisa Frank. Anyway, yeah, affiliate marketing, multiple income streams. Yes, all of the things. Oh God, it's great. Yeah, okay. I love doing this. It's my favorite thing. All right, so let's do a break, and I have some crisps, a glass of wine, and then we'll talk about Margaret Wood, and that's it. You're gonna love this stuff. It's really nice. It's really good. And what am I doing? Hang on, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Okay, let's see what happens when I do this, and I'll see you in a second. Yeah? Okay. Wait, I know that you're still there, that's fine. Now I'm really gonna do it. Okay. Okay, and we're back. Let's see. I like that there's a filter on this thing, you know. I mean, I am very, very pale. I am a vampiric, pale, pasty woman. But this filter is great because I don't look pale. So, you know what's really sad? I was thinking, oh God, got lipstick on my teeth. I was thinking about QuiltCon because I was thinking about how, this is so cool. So I was looking at some Charlie the Beagle. I was looking at the information about COVID safety, right? That the Modern Quilt Guild has on their website. And I don't know if you've looked at it, and I don't know who's going. And I know that some people are going to plan to go, and then they're going to be like, I don't know. Or some people are going to get COVID, you know, and not be able to go. So I know all that, and I'm one of those people, right? A friend that I know, someone that I work with, his wife, her grandfather passed away, and she went to the funeral, and everybody at the funeral has COVID, like all of the family, like over 10 people. It's insane. They're doing okay, but you know. Anyway, but they have this really neat thing on the QuiltCon website. You get, like, when you check in, I assume it's like a sticker or something. You're iridescent. Great. We can blend in together into the wall, into the green screen. I assume it's like a sticker, so like when you check in and get your badge or whatever, there's a red, a yellow, or a green like icon. And they look like little like buttons on your phone or something. It's a sticker that, you know, red, yellow, and green. And the red icon is like a stop. Like you would press stop on a, you know, if you're playing something on Spotify or something, like it's like a sound icon or something. Stop this is rating your comfortability with closeness, like nearness to people. Like stop means please, like stay back, you know, I'm not comfortable with like getting too close because I'm distancing, and that's how it's going to be with me. Yellow means like elbow bumps and handshakes are okay with me. And green is like, I don't know, like hugs are okay or something like that. I don't know exactly what it is. But I thought, yeah, I think it's really, really cool because it's been so awkward this whole pandemic. I can't believe I'm saying that sentence. It's been so awkward this whole pandemic, all these years, to kind of gauge somebody's like, hey, like, can we like hug again? Should we? Are you okay with it? I mean, it's sort of like super awkward. And at a show, you don't want to have to be like, sorry. Well, you know, and that's the thing is that it almost feels like nobody thinks you're rude, but if somebody's like, oh, hi, and you're like, excuse me, like, sorry. So nobody has to do that. And I think that's really awesome. I think it's very smart and really, it's just really good. So they're serious about all that stuff. I mean, if you read the information on the Modern Quilt Guild website, like, it made me feel better. I read it out loud to Eric because we were like, he actually asked me, he's like, how are you going to feel getting up in front of that audience of people? And I think I have to do my lectures with a mask on. I have to tell you, I didn't think about that. I figured if I was up on the stage that I could probably do it without a mask, but it's pretty clear on that website. Masks are to be worn at all times. Period. So, oh man, Kelly, no, nope, I hear you. Oh my God, write down, I get it now. Green, let's make out. Love it. That's the black one, like the purple. I don't know. Okay, so let's just talk about Margaret Wood. Just a little bit of something for you. She's really cool, and I've known about her for a little while because this quilt is one of those quilts that I just love. I love it. I loved it the first time I saw it. Susan, a contractor, shook my hand today We were outside and committed to spending a lot of money on the house. I wash my hands with tons of soap and hot water. I know, it just feels so weird now. And I mean, yeah, the transmissibility is, it's just crazy. That bug, man, wow. Oh, I'm sure it's okay. Great. So this quilt is called Dress Series. It's from a series called the Dress Series, and it's Burgundy is its name. So it's Dress Series : Burgundy, and it was made in 1998 by a woman named Margaret Wood. And I'm going to read you who she is and show you some show you some stuff from work that she has made. Okay. This is from, oh, and by the way, so this belongs to the Smithsonian. It's at the National Museum of the American Indian. Yeah, it is. You know what? Kimono, yes, rigs. The kimono does. Add kimono to the bingo square. It's true. This is something a little bit different, but I see you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay. And it should be on the bingo card. Please, someone make a note. This was owned by Lillian Vernon. Does anybody catch that? I mean, I remember the Lillian Vernon catalog when I was a kid. I mean, I think that is something, I mean, it was like we got catalogs. We got Spiegel, and by we, I mean my mom. You know, she got the Spiegel catalog. We got LL Bean. We got Lil Bean. And totally got Lillian Vernon, right? Yeah. So this quilt, the record in the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian, had the record for this quilt says owned by Lillian Vernon, right? I love their school notions items. Well, I mean, maybe I got my play school supplies from there too, but I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, that's a story too, right? What's up with the Lillian Vernon quilt collection? How cool is that? I mean, if she had this, I'm like there for it. Lillian Vernon quilt collection. I mean, sometimes you see these quilts that are so amazing and they say private collection, and it's like, who? I know some private collectors, but like maybe the Lillian Vernon quilt collection is just amazing, and I want to know about it. Don't you? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to read you this article by Cynthia O.I. It's written in 2000. Look, see, here's another one. This is another Margaret Wood Dress Series red sleeve from 1998. This is a very low quality picture. I'm not going to zoom in because that's about as good as it's going to get. But here, I have to have some of my wine. Hang on. I've got pictures from, these are not necessarily in chronological order. Some of them are, I'm just going to read you. This is from the Honolulu Star Bulletin in 2000. And the headline is Quilt Show Honors Native American Tradition. Okay? Honolulu. What? Yeah, abstract, totally. Okay, so Susan Michael, there's a quilt in here that reminds me of, I don't know, that alien quilt you sent me, which I have not forgotten about. Don't you worry. I don't know. It just reminds me of something. I'll tell you when we get there. This is Margaret Wood. Okay, here's the article. Cynthia Oy writes, why did primitive humans peck at rocks excuse me, to form bowls, then take the time to decorate them with patterns and lines on the outside? That's a very good question. Some, like Margaret Wood, believe such labor stems from the desire to create. So it is with Wood and other artists who have transformed utilitarian bedspreads into beauteous quilts that will be displayed at the Bishop Museum. This, by the way, pause on the article. This is a picture from her book, okay? So before she was a quilt maker, she designed clothes and jewelry. So Margaret Wood, and there's a couple pieces of her clothing that I put in this little series, but she's a quilt maker, and she's known for being a quilt maker, but she wrote this book, and it's so cool from what I can see. You know, I didn't check archive.org. It's quite possible that that it's in there. You know, this is the kind of book, right, that archive.org usually has. Someone could check. I mean, it's really cool. Modern Adaptations of Traditional Designs by Margaret Wood. And this is a picture from that book. I mean, stunning, right? I mean, oh my God. The outfit shown is an adaptation of the manta. The top is adorned with sewn-on strands of red and green yarn. I mean, I don't know. I think it's fabulous. Also, that woman is beautiful. That's not Margaret. That's a model, but... Sorry. To honor and comfort Native quilting traditions is a traveling exhibit of the Smithsonian Institution. Yeah, okay. I have other things to say about that. It showcases 45 quilts by Indian and Hawaiian textile artists and quilting groups from across the United States. This is Margaret Wood. Oh, and look at this signature. This is just something I found on the internet. So this is her book, Native American Fashion, and it says, "For Anne, all the best. Quilt in beauty. Margaret Wood." Quilt in beauty. That is beautiful. That's another beautiful thing we've heard tonight. It was Linda Pumphrey who said, making and owning a quilt is a pleasurable thing to do. She said it so much better, and gives you a sense of accomplishment. Like, that was beautiful. And this is a wonderful way to sign something. Like a gift to your friend, or a card, or an autograph, you know, to the nerds. Quilt in beauty. Love, Mary. You know, I mean, it's really good. You should take it. Everybody should take it. Okay. Quote, "Native quilting happened." This is one more picture from her book. I mean, I just think that is so badass. I have to send that to my sister Hannah. She would love that. "Native quilting happened as the westward movement of Anglos happened," said Wood, a Navajo-Seminole who came to the islands to present a lecture. Oh yeah, here's one more little quilt clothes thing. To present a lecture and to help with the exhibit. Quote, "The lifestyle changed for Native Americans as they were conquered and subdued," Wood said, "and as the animals whose hides traditionally served as blankets and clothing were killed off. At the same time, manufactured fabrics became available, and Indian women began to learn to use them instead." The wives of military men, this is Margaret with a quilt. Love it. Sorry. The wives of military men and missionaries started giving women sewing lessons at the forts and missions, and provided them with manufactured cotton and wool, she said. At first, Indians made quilts with European patterns, but over time they began incorporating tribal designs that they had been using in beadwork and other media. Look at her. I mean, I don't know. When I said, I was like, she's gorgeous. This is what I was thinking of. Good heavens. So this is Arizona Republic, 1984. Okay, and I have this article, but I just love this picture of her in front of this quilt. I just love it. I just love it. It's so great. So that's Margaret. Okay, back to Margaret. Quote, "For instance, the Odawa quilt, one of the oldest in the show, has the Lone Star design, but the corners and the triangular areas are filled with a floral design that's common to the Odawa people. So the missionary design is combined with traditional tribal design," unquote. While there are fine examples of antique quilts made by European Americans, few native quilts have survived. So this is a piece by Margaret Wood that I love. It's, to me, it's called Mosaic No. 4, made between 1976 and 1999. That was the date I had on it. Looks to me earlier, you know, 70s, 80s. This is so cool because it's so obviously like quilt and jewelry. I don't know what the dimensions are on it. It's at Michigan State University. Marcia McDowell wrote a book called To Honor and Comfort on Native quilting traditions in America, so I'm sure she was all over this exhibit and all of that. We should look at all that stuff. And Marcia McDowell's amazing. We'll talk more about her. She's with at the Michigan State University and the Quilt Index and all of that. So I actually have a call with her tomorrow. That's true. About the Quilt Index and the show and everything. So, anyway, yeah, I don't have more information on this particular piece, but I think it's really cool. Not your grandmother's newspaper article. Well, Mary Kate, did you hear that? Did you hear that? If you're out there, you know what you have to do. Okay. Anglo women could afford to make quilts that were purely decorative, Wood said. Do you love this or do you love this? Sorry, I know I keep interrupting myself, but that's the way the show goes. It's called Moccasin Series number 2, Green Sioux, Sioux. Don't have a year on it, but man, I like this quilt a lot. I like her quilts a lot. Anglo women could afford to make quilts that were purely decorative, Wood said. Quote, they tended to make a very special quilt out of satin and expensive fabrics, and they would save them for an heirloom, and they would only bring them out Sunday when the preacher came to dinner. But the native people lived much closer to the earth. Oh God, the write down. I'm so sorry. I hate the Streamlabs bot for you. The native people lived much closer to the earth. I believe, Wood said, I believe there were many heirloom quality quilts made, but the native people didn't have the economics. If there was a bad winter and you weren't able to get buffalo hides or deer hides for bed coverings, you couldn't hold on to that heirloom quilt. Your babies were cold, unquote. As quilts became part of the Indian household, this quilt is called Basket Series number 3, Western Apache. It was made in 1993. Again, look at the people like Jack and Jill. I'm sorry. Sweater. As quilts became part of the Indian household, different tribal groups gave the quilt different significance, she said. Not only were they items of comfort, they became gifts of honor. And at an Indian school in South Dakota, for example, each member of the graduating class is presented with a quilt. Quote, the mothers take it upon themselves to make sure that every graduate has a quilt draped on their chair when they come in for the ceremony. Oh, that's so great, said Wood. If the child doesn't have a mother or a person who sews in the family, other mothers will make one for the graduate. Yep, Jade answer. Having trouble with my words tonight. I love the use of the simple shapes, the bright squares, or dots as an accent. Yeah. I mean, aren't you amazed? We see so many quilts that, like, they're just not complicated. It's about the design. It's about the vision for the whole. I mean, the Jack and Jill quilt, I think Padma was the one who said, Padma was the one who's like, it's, you know, it's half square triangles and patches. Like, and this too, I mean, it's the brilliant design, which, I mean, if it's based on, you know, it's called Basket Series number 3, Western Apache. I mean, it's so great, and it's not difficult. And that's me saying that, you know. And but this thing, this is not. It's deceptively simple, actually, because putting this together, actually doing the piecing, you know, with that negative space and all this stuff, you know, it's got plenty of work in it. But you know what I'm saying? It's not some Paducah number. Sorry. Okay. Hopi culture requires a naming ceremony for a new infant. Oh yeah, this is great. The Hopi stuff. I have a lot to share about this at some point, about the Hopi stuff. As part of that naming ceremony for the Hopi culture, in the Hopi culture, each family member of the baby's family presents the child with a naming quilt. Quote, if the baby has a large family, the baby may be given 20 naming quilts, said Wood. So you'll see pictures of this big pile of quilts around this tiny baby. But that's part of their culture now, part of their ceremony, said Wood. So great. Susan Michael, this is the one I was thinking of you. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but I thought of you. She became a member of the planning committee for the exhibit, the Native Traditions exhibit that was here in Hawaii in 2000. She became a member in the mid-1990s. Ah, interesting. But the idea for the show began more than a decade ago. Interesting. Getting grant money, deciding the focus and the parameters of the exhibit, and putting together a well-researched companion book took much of the time. Oh my God. So when I talk to Marcia McDowell tomorrow, I'm going to talk to her about Margaret Wood. I'll probably be like, I could have talked to you maybe before I did the show on Margaret Wood. But that's not how we roll here. We go with it. Sorry. An Arizona native, Margaret Wood, 50, so now she's 70, Mother of 2 boys, has degrees in teaching and library science. She had a successful business selling contemporary clothing adapted from Indian designs when she took up quilting as a sideline, aka side hustle. My edition. Quote, I found that the quilts were a much more creative thing, said Wood. There was less marketing and more creativity, unquote. In 1990, she switched the emphasis of her business, and she said, I'm really glad that I did. I'm having a lot of fun with quilts. Her pieces aren't for spreading across the mattress. She designs them to be hung on walls, and each has a reason for being. One is called, I gotta go to it specifically. One is called Charlie Wood's Stoma quilt and honors her father. At the center of the quilt is a plastic mask that was used in her father's radiation therapy after he was diagnosed with throat cancer. The doctor offered it to my father, but he didn't want it, Wood said, so I took it. Red and white borders representing the lighted cigarettes that caused the cancer surround imprints of hands. Wood said, they are helping hands, actual tracings from some of the people who helped get him back on his feet. All quilts have stories. Wow. I mean, I don't know. It hits me hard too, Myra. I mean, yeah. Yeah. The cigarettes, I mean, I didn't know that part. And like tracing the hands of people who, nurses, I suspect, and, perhaps doctors, whoever, home care aides or whatnot, is really powerful. Wow. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should have done like a content warning on it. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, that's with the mask, the plastic mask. And I mean, I don't want to trauma dump here. I don't at all. But I mean, I had a stoma for years, because I had my surgeries and stuff for ulcerative colitis, and they did not go very well. And I had, that. I mean, that there's a quilt that even has that word in it is like, it's pretty like I read that. I read the title and I was like, it's a really intense subject because it's about radiation and it's about very specific medical things and like, I mean, and she included cigarettes, right? So that's an interesting element to this. Yeah, that's the word that got you too, Myra. I mean, it's an interesting inclusion. It's not just like, I'm not saying she's got blame going here or anything, but I mean, the cigarettes are a part of the quilt, It's not like pictures of her dad and her as a kid. I mean, it's a piece of art. There's so many layers of what she's expressing here. It's really powerful. Yeah, Myra, ask the surgeon for a sample of mesh. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, Kelly, I know. Yeah, I am better. I'm way better. I mean, my normal is not fun, but I don't. Sorry, I'm gonna go to a different quilt now, but didn't want to jar us out of that because it's paying our respects, right? It's like, well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometime it'll be appropriate to share that story. I mean, it's really a journey. It's really quite the journey. But I have not yet made. Well, actually, I did make a quilt kind of about that. Anyway, let's talk about Margaret Wood. And then here's a little bit about. Oh yeah. Okay, so this quilt is called. It's crazy. Semi-abcrocogator. 1988. This, let me just say, so there's this little piece here that I'm going to read you. This is from 1993. And it says, Margaret Wood's Quilts, Soft Sculptures Open New Show. And it says this is by Gussie Fauntleroy. That's a name. By the way, this quilt is a group effort. It's by Anishinaabe women. It's at the Smithsonian. They didn't have a date on it. This is the back of it, and this is the front of it. There's not a name. It's just called Quilt. But this is a quilt made by Native women in 90s. I think it's in the 90s. Yeah, I love that gall. Still have helping hands in my life. Absolutely. I've said for years, I said at the time, and this all started in like 2008 with my stuff, the nurses saved my life, like without a doubt. I might have mentioned it before because Myra, you're in healthcare, and I think I mentioned it because I was talking to you or thinking about you here in the show. I mean, the surgeons did their thing, but it was those helping hands that saved my life. The hands were the nurses' hands. Okay, so Gussie Fauntleroy wrote this article in 1993. She says, the little doll dresses Margaret Wood sewed as a child growing up on the Navajo reservation didn't look like Indian clothes. They were just what she thought was pretty, and there was no money for store-bought doll clothes. But Wood's mother sewed contemporary versions of tribal clothing for her daughter to wear. That's so cool. Navajo for her side of the family, and Seminole for Wood's father's side. She also made quilts to go on beds. We've been there. Okay, let's look at this. Putting to practical use the sewing skills she learned at the mission school where she'd been sent as a young girl. So it was a natural progression for Wood to go from sewing doll clothes to following her mother's interest, making clothes based on styles and design elements from the American Indian ceremonial clothing. This quilt is called Ribbon Shirt Quilt from 2000. I think it's the last. Oh, no, I've got one more. Now Wood has drawn the circle back around to her childhood by creating quilts, but not utilitarian bed covers like her mother made. Wood's quilts and quilted wall hangings are art, patterned in bright, strong, primary colors and bold design motifs borrowed from tribes all over North America. Y'all, this one was in an auction a while ago, like closed in like 2016, I think. But this is, Margaret Wood, Navajo Chief's Blanket, Phase 3, 1989. There's a tag on it that says Margaret Wood. So that's interesting. Okay. She still makes clothes, but quilts allow her the creative freedom to follow her artistic inclination wherever it wants to wander. For many years, Wood says, I was a clothing designer, making quilts on the side. And then about 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to flip-flop that arrangement, so I was making mostly quilts. And I mean, just because now we understand her, right? Let's look at that. Quote, I found clothing to be an exercise in compromise. You have to target the market and decide on the price range. Mine was under $200 for a dress. And then to keep that, you'd have to compromise on the fabric or the buttons, put in fewer details, things like that. I had started the clothing business as an outlet for my creativity. So the nice thing about quilts is I can do exactly what I want to do. Unquote. What Wood does is work in series with a minimum of 4 quilts to a series. Okay. Now it's all making sense because we keep seeing dress series, basket series. Didn't know. A minimum of 4, corresponding to the sacred 4 directions. You remember the Thanksgiving show? We saw that motif, that circle with the 4 segments, like the cross in them. It's all coming together. The sacred, and as many in the series she'll make as it takes to play out her inspiration. The source of her certain series that's in the thing. Okay, so they're going through some of the different series in the show. I won't talk about those because, I don't have images of them from this paper. Pioneer women moving west brought with them the practice of quilt making, which some American Indian women learned and used to make coverings. This is what now. This is the end of this. That were warm and functional. In the 1800s, Sioux women began creating quilts with a star pattern in the center, a design for which they've become well known. Many of the star quilts were offered as gifts in giveaways, so a lot of these women were actually making art. Yeah. Great. Okay, cool. So that's Margaret Wood. A little bit of her anyway. And I just think she's so cool. Oh, yeah, look at that quilt in the back. That's really neat. Maybe that's it, Susan. Kind of reminds me of your little alien quilt. I know, Myra. I mean, she's just like really pretty too. I mean, I think we can appreciate her beauty in many different ways, but she is like just really pretty. So then, to finish up the show tonight, I just have to share with you. So part of what was so crazy today, getting ready, is that I went down this rabbit hole of Native American fashion designers. And it's just wild what I found. Look, I've just got a few pictures to show you because I can't stand it. This is in Vogue magazine, okay? Hang on. 6 indigenous. I've got it printed out, but I want to make sure I have the right designer named. Okay, here we go. The line between inspiration and appropriation in fashion is often blurred. No one knows this better. This is from the Vogue article. I'm not going to read it all to you, just giving you a sense. Nobody knows this better than the indigenous community, whose sacred prints, hand-burnished leather work, and beaded appliques have been imitated by fashion houses for centuries. Indeed. This type of cultural appropriation, where labels draw from deep-rooted design codes without crediting the culture they're taking from, is particularly harmful to indigenous people who have been and continue to be marginalized. But now, a new crop of indigenous designers in North America is fighting back, using their collections to spotlight cultural activism and grassroots movements that are more important now than ever, especially given recent events such as the pipeline protests at Standing Rock. Okay, look at this jewelry. Good. I just don't even know. I don't get excited about jewelry much. I don't. Some people, they're jewelry people, Some people are shoes people. I can get excited about shoes. My favorite item is the coat. I love a great coat. But some people like real estate, some people like cars. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying we can all afford real estate and cars and all that stuff, but it's like, oh, what do you like to look at? How do you like to look at houses, on like Redfin or something? You're like, oh no, I love to look at jewelry at Tiffany's. This when you're surfing, what's your pleasure? But this jewelry, this just wait. I mean, look at how it is quilty. Look at how it is quilty in the center. But that's not even the best one. I don't know. There is something about this designer's jewelry that is so right in every way. What's the next one? Yeah, God. It's really, really cool. Look at that. I mean, I don't know if that's a ring or, I can look at the thing. Let me see who this is. Carrie, let me make sure this is right. I don't want to get the person wrong. Yeah, this is Carrie Atomby Metals, and she's from the Kiowa tribe, and she's based in Santa Fe. I mean, this is beautiful. They look like little cranberries and pearls and gold. And this, like, I don't know, bone or opal or something moon. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't get that excited about jewelry. But look at this. Look at this beauty. Okay, here, I'm going to put it in the chat. This is who it is. And let me put the link to this article, too. That's the Vogue article. Okay, so look at this. Look at this. Look at these. These are Louboutins. These are Louboutins that have been embellished by one of these brilliant young people with this extraordinary, bead design referencing his, I believe, his own native culture, right? Jamie Okuma. That link is the best place to find all of this because it's got everybody that I'm talking about. And there's just a few more pictures. I just had to show you. It's like, oh my God, this is how nerds, this this is the best. This is when when we all talk about how quilts are so great because they take you to all these places. Well, it's so cool. It's so cool. Look at this shirt. Oh my God. It's great. It's really, really great. I'm coveting everything. Yes. Coveting the green ring. I know. I'm coveting as well. These guys are just the coolest people that have ever lived. I don't know. I mean, they're models. They're models, but they're pretty awesome. And then, yeah, this is the last picture. I mean, look at, they're just gorgeous garments. And I don't know. I had to share. It was so beautiful. This wasn't from, was this from the Vogue article? I'm not sure. Like I said, I went down the rabbit hole. This is Santa Fe Indian Market Fashion Show from 2015. I don't think that's from the Vogue article. I was like Googling around, but just stunning. Look at the top of the dress. I just think it's so pretty the way that goes. And a little patchworky, don't you think? I know. I mean, I don't think I could, I've worn some pretty intense shoes in my life, but those boots, I wouldn't wear them. They would look so silly on me. The last thing, y'all, the very last thing I almost forgot is one of the things in the Margaret Wood materials, and it's shopping. It's shopping. Check this out. Beyond Buckskin. Trust me. Let me pull this up online, and then I gotta sign out. Hold on. Let me go to this. There is a very, very cool website that you need to know about. One of the articles that I found while I was looking for Margaret Wood is this Beyond Buckskin, okay? BeyondBuckskin.com. Check this out. Beyond Buckskin is a website and business dedicated to promoting and selling Native American-made fashion. And they're not Louboutins, okay? It's headed up by Dr. Jessica Metcalf. She interviewed Margaret Wood. That's how I found this. Turtle Mountain, Chippewa. That's Dr. Jessica Metcalf, Turtle Mountain, Chippewa. So she launched Beyond Buckskin in 2009. Okay, go to it. Check this out. Look at this. Look how cool this is. Beyond Buckskin Boutique. And you like that jewelry? Look at this. Look at this. Look at these earrings. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, I'm telling you. I can wear. I don't, like I said, I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I don't. But these are gorgeous. And they're $94, which, I don't know about you, probably going to be more affordable than the beauty that we saw in Vogue. I mean, come on. I didn't check prices on that person's stuff, but I mean, pearls, #pearls. So isn't it lovely? So beyondbuckskin.com and just click shop. And look at all this. It's just awesome. And you support these designers. Who knows? Maybe one of the kids in Vogue was selling their stuff on here at one time. Probably. Oh, wow. Look at this. New Beginnings blanket. Interesting. Well, we don't need blankets, do we? Yeah, I mean, just gorgeous. And so, I worry about some of that stuff too. Like, can I wear like a Seminole thing? Does it make sense? I think about that kind of stuff. Just like, what am I saying here with this? But hell yeah, like if you're supporting an artist, this is awesome. I love it. Chicago is cold. I want that. Anyway, so I wanted to share that with you because it's cool. It's just really cool. And they have sales and stuff like that. So, and the earrings are really, really great. Black Hills Gold, Sleeping Beauty turquoise, and Black Hills Gold maybe. I mean, look, these are I'm sorry. They're cool. And then maybe you can see like the scale of them. Oh, that's good. They're not so big. Yeah, I like little stuff. Anyway. So that's the show, y'all. For my final goodbye, I want to get as close as possible to this beautiful piece of jewelry. So let me do this. And it's almost like I'll be wearing it. What a fun time. Yeah. Almost 3 hours. That's how we roll. It's just awesome hanging out with you, as always. And I'll be with you, I hope, everybody, and anybody you want to bring along at 11 a.m. on Thursday. So I'll see you then. Oh, and don't forget, this Friday night is a Quilters newsletter night. And my mom is, we're going to get on the phone tomorrow and we're going to go through which issue from 1974 we're going to do. And I think my mom might make an appearance on Friday night. So we'll see you Thursday and hopefully Friday and Saturday too. Okay, bye y'all. Have a good one. Oh yeah, I got to do this.